Welcome back, Wastelanders. It's Deltia from deltiasgaming.com. In part 2, we're going to talk about how to get started in Fallout 4. Where do you go? Why? What do you do? With basics on setting up your perks right away, what you should go after, how to get crafting materials, how to scrap everything to get a good head start, and how to make some early caps before you adventure out into the Wasteland. Okay, first thing I want to show you is how I spec my character. Now, I've already beaten Fallout 4, and I did a very specific thing here with my points. I went 3 into strength. I don't find it that useful unless you're going to play a melee berserker type build, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go for perception, high in perception. A couple perks in here right away that are very, very useful. Riflemen. I particularly like rifles. In my military experience, they were useful, and in this game, they're very, very useful. I really like this perk. So we're going to try to take this, max it out as we progress as fast as we can, because you will rip and grip enemies down with this sucker. Moving right along, locksmith, very, very important to have this or the terminal. I hate the terminal, so I go with locksmith. And as you get going here down below, sniper. This thing's going to come in handy when we rip and grip with them big old high caliber 50 sniper rifles. I'm telling you, it's awesome. And the reason I put 3 points into strength is I can do the armor passive. So that's all you really need to do in strength. And I'm going to go heavy, heavy, heavy into perception as we go. Same thing with endurance. It measures your physical fitness, gives you a lot of health. So 3 points, you're going to get toughness, which is really nice. Water, blood belly, not really worth it, but life giver. So this is something that's good to throw some extra points into if you're waiting on another perk to unlock at a higher level. Charisma, one of the better ones for making money. Obviously, we have Cap Seller, Cap Collector, which is very, very useful. Lady Killer, I don't roll with too much, but Lone Wanderer. If you like playing solo, this thing is very, very handy. You take 15% less damage at each level, and you get increased carrying capacity. So sometimes I like just to play solo without even a companion. Minus the story, it's pretty much beneficial to rock with the Lone Wanderer. But really, you want the local leader. This thing allows you to put tons and tons of stuff in your workshops and use them independently throughout your settlements. And also to build stores at settlements. If you do this early on, you could have a lot of caps down the road. More on that later. But trust me, 6 points into this will make your life much, much easier in the Wasteland. There's also some other ones down here that are really, really useful, but that's a long ways to go. Intelligence. I like to build, I like to craft, and this unlocks some really, really good ones. Medic is very, very useful for restoring health. Rataway, gun nut. I love the craftable guns in this, more so than armor. So I go with this right away. Those are the 2 perks I'm going to focus on right away. And then science down here is very handy later on as you progress through the game and unlock more weapons and definitely some power armor. And scrapper can be useful as well. Starting off, if you're going to play a hard, challenging role and you like crafting, this is a decent perk to get as well. Agility. The perks are very, very useful in here, but the reason I like agility is just the action points that it has available. If you don't want to use the V.A.T.S system and you're not going to do a lot of sneaking, you don't really have to use this, but the V.A.T.S system makes the game much easier, so think about using it. And luck, I don't find it that useful. I don't like random. If I can get something to work all the time, I'm going to. So that's how I spec my character out. So just in recap, we're not going to go for Lone Wanderer because I do want the story, but we're going to go for the Rifleman right away. Rifleman, we're going to do gun nut, armor, science, and get access to all the crafting materials that we can. Because once you start crafting and get some awesome armor, the game gets a lot easier. So once I do that, the very next thing that you got to do is just destroy this whole town here. Sanctuary. We got Sanctuary. What I like to do is cannibalize it. See all these tires, all these street lamps, all these cars. You're not going to need all this stuff. In fact, you can just build a couple houses in the center here with sleeping bags, and that's it. So the best tip I can give you right away is to cannibalize all this stuff. So let's go ahead and do that. I go on a scrapping rampage, and a couple things you need to do before you scrap everything is go through and check if there's lootable items, specifically crates, chests, and anything else that needs to be unlocked in terminals. If it can, loot those first, then do your scrapping. Okay, within a few short minutes, we got access to tons and tons of stuff from doing that. We got more ammo, we got more materials, weapons, things to sell, but look at all this. A lot of cloth, a lot of glass, and 1,300 wood. That's almost enough for an entire playthrough. So I do recommend taking your time to do this. It's going to give you a really good start. Also, this settlement, my first playthrough, I expanded and did a bunch of stuff here. Just realized you don't have to do the settlements to start. And in fact, I recommend doing the main quest first. The reason why, you're going to get access to the different factions, or whatever you want to call them, the people that give you quests. And then you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do. Do one at a time, do them all at a time, or knock out one completely. What I did is did the settlement stuff, did a couple other things, and I got too caught up in a bunch of different things to go back to do the main story. So I highly recommend the main story first. Also, you're going to need to make settlements eventually, and especially just this one. So what I recommend doing, keep everything tight and compact. If you want to defend a settlement, the worst thing you could do is have everything spread out without gates and turrets. So realistically, this playthrough, what I'm going to do is have everything in here. Don't use expensive stuff to craft to start. So for instance, what I did originally is I made these beds, and I made the most expensive one with the highest material cost. Why? Charlie, you're going to have to sleep in a sleeping bag to start, buddy. I'm sorry. So now we have room to expand there. And also, look if some materials already exist that you don't have to reproduce the wheel. For instance, there's already some food back here. We can get water from a different source and really spend minimal time doing this. Trust me, you want to set out, but have a specific goal in mind. Wandering the wasteland is one thing, and exploring is great, but I like to have a goal in mind, and that's doing the main story first. You're going to get access to companions, more storylines, more quests, and a whole lot more technology. Well, I got my first little companion here as he alerts me to stim packs and gets one out for me. Thanks, buddy. The dogs or the other companions are really, really helpful in the game, and I recommend trying to focus some of your builds on them, and you can command them and give them material. Hey. So, and worst comes to worst, you can just let them store all your stuff. They kind of act like a tank in other games. They're going to get attention for you. Now, the dog doesn't really have a whole lot to start, and especially later on, some of your other companions are pretty interesting with unique abilities and whatnot. But you can upgrade the dog. Speaking of upgrades, I got my first perk. So what I recommend doing is, how I leveled effectively last time was taking a perk, 3 different types. What I take is a damage dealing type. So when, for instance, Rifleman is going to be the one I'm going to max out as best I can. The next thing I'm going to take is a crafting based perk, so Gun Nut. Now this gives you performance gains because you can increase the what your guns can do. And I'm telling you right now, these two combined make a big difference in if you survive or not. For these playthroughs that I'm going to be doing videos on, we're going to be doing hard and eventually be doing survivor mode. So Gun Nut is actually a really nice deal. And after that, I take something utility-wise. So I might take this cap collector, because vendor prices and selling is a huge deal to make your character better. So performance, crafting, and then something like cap collector, some utility type thing. This is what made my character a lot better. And what I did when I started out is taking random junk that I really didn't need. I didn't know if I wanted to do melee, or if I wanted to be a lone wolf, or if I wanted to use assault weapons. So I had about 5 or 6 points tied up into random perks that I didn't even use. And that's okay the first time through. Hopefully this saves you guys a lot of time. And now we got combat and the V.A.T.S system. So, V.A.T.S really makes the game pretty easy. I don't use it a whole lot, because it just is so easy just to sit there and go click, da-da-da, but you need it a lot of the time. Especially if you're not good at aiming like first-person shooter mode, because I'm not that good at it. Let's see. Oh, I shot my dog instead. Oh, get him! Get him, boy! Nice job, yeah. So I recommend focusing your builds on the V.A.T.S system if you have trouble shooting, aiming, or your just reflexes aren't that good. Because you can just sit there and click. You'll hear that little button if there's no enemies around. So when I'm approaching a new settlement or a new obstacle, what I like to do is hit that V.A.T.S button. Why? It's going to let you know where your enemies are before you can even see them. Another thing you want to do right away is set up your quick keys. So you have what's called favorites here. What I like to do is have 3 different weapons that I use. I know it's a lot to carry, but I have a close range, a long range, and a medium range. Now shotguns are very, very handy. So I'm just going to put it on my 1 key. 1, 2, 3. So, and medium range here, which we will change out to a rifle, and then we will have a sniper rifle on the back end. That is going to give me good damage all across the board. Another trick here is if you're out of ammo, don't reload if you're in a panic situation. Just hit another weapon, and then go reload after combat's done. So for open area combat, you're going to use, what I like to do is use a long range weapon as I approach, medium range as I get closer, and then if I have to go inside to do a mission, good old fashioned shotgun. These things have really helped me out because using a sniper rifle this close is not really going to do a whole lot for you. So hopefully that helps you guys out. I want to make videos of most of the quests in the game along with builds, something very, very specific. So what I think this game has similar to Elder Scrolls Online and other ones is the ability to make really cool builds. Now, it might not be as detail oriented when you look at it initially, but look at this. You can make some really cool like power armor melee builds. You could make a sniper build specifically for one-shotting people. You could make a commander build or a ninja type thing that sneaks up and just stabs people from the back, the Grim Reaper. You can make an all V.A.T.S build that you don't even aim your abilities. So there's tons and tons of stuff I plan on doing with multiple playthroughs, along as categorizing everything as well. But what I like about this game so far is the environment and the ability to do anything that you want. So truly, if you want to explore and do that, I couldn't stop for about 2 days straight. It's just so fun. Just remember that almost everything in this world holds value. Whether it's a random tire on the side of the road, a beer bottle, extra ammunition, anything holds value. So for instance, last tip I got, and there's a lot of them I got to get off my chest, is ammo. Ammo is something that I didn't really know and held on to forever. So for instance, I'm not going to use any pistols. For these 38 rounds, I'm going to sell all of these things. And I use ammo basically as an early way to get a lot of caps. Remember that most of your enemies you're going to go up are going to use ammo for their pipe guns. Now if you want to use a pipe gun and upgrade it because you're always going to have ammo, that's great. But if you don't, like me, and you want to use your own craftable unique weapons, sell these things. Use them as currency. Trust me, you'll have tons and tons of ammo. Later on in the game you're going to get flamer ammo. I don't use flamer ammo, so I sell it. That's how I made a lot of caps early on. And don't spend your caps. Know what you want to buy. To me, you want to get some dropped unique armor and upgrade it versus buying your armor and that sort of thing. So I spend my my caps on junk that I can't find in game. Specific rare nuclear material that vendors have. I also spend a lot of it on aid. So not only do I go through stim packs, but these things, Jet, Psycho, Rad X, anything like that. And stuff that gives you radiation, sell that junk. And don't always think about using stim packs. Remember, you need to rest. Use the bed. That's what it's there for. Ooh, giddy up Buttercup? Yeah! Loot, loot. So if you think I have a collecting problem in Elder Scrolls Online, you're going to be woefully disappointed when I do some of these videos because I am just going to take everything. That's what makes half the game fun. So if you're a looter like me, last tip of the day, hopefully, is get that perk right away, which is the local leader perk. Allows you to establish supply lines between settlements. Makes such a difference because all you have to do once you get this thing is go to your local workshop and then just transfer all your junk in there. So right here, I unlock this workshop here. All I have to do is hit R and transfer it all in there. Now, no matter where I go, if I have this perk, I'll have access to these things for crafting materials. Now, I can't pull them out of every single thing, but at least I have them accessible. It's very, very, very handy. Okay, a lot of tips. I'm excited about covering a new game, and I'm still going to cover all Elder Scrolls Online. It's just going to be when there's new content or I have a new build to display. But other than that, I am going to be living in Fallout 4. This game, I can't wait to see the DLC that comes out and explore everything there is, because boy, there's a lot of stuff to do. Like for instance, we just took over a tire station. You know what that means? Daddy's getting some rubber. Yeah! No jokes in the comments about that, please. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.